All right, let's jump into our next story here, which this was I thought it was a really interesting story. It had to do with the movie Selma, which was directed by, of course, by Ava DuVernay. I still don't know how to pronounce her name. I feel like I'm saying it wrong every time I say it. Is it DuVernay? Is it
I
Duvernay?
think it's Ava DuVernay. I say
Duvernay?
Duvernay.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's got like a little bit of a
it sounds
French,
smoother.
yeah, a little French appeal to it. So yeah, this comes to us by way of Collider, but although like everybody kind of talked about this particular story, yeah, I think it came out over the course of the weekend. Um, so if I can pull up my trusty dusty notes here. Um, so Selma, which is a movie that came out in I think 2014, I believe that the film came out in. And it had much fanfare. There was so much critical acclaim about the movie. I think it even got like a 99% tomato rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but it got snubbed basically from the Oscars. And so reading here from an article from Collider, it was when it came to the Oscar nominations, it was only nominated for best original song, which it won, and best picture. But surprisingly, without any nominations for best director, best original screenplay, best or best actor for David Oyelowo's performance as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So everybody kind of speculated about what happened, especially when you had other films like The Imitation Game, The Theory of Everything, and American Sniper all kind of being nominated as well as taking home some pretty big prizes. Oyelowo, he spoke to Screen International saying that the cast and crew of Selma wore "I Can't Breathe" T-shirts in remembrance of Eric Garner, who was murdered by cops in July 2014. Academy members responded by saying that they were stirring shit and would not vote for the film because it wasn't their place to do that. DuVernay confirmed the story on Twitter. So yeah, I thought this brought up a very interesting topic about. I think I just swallowed a fly.
Yeah, that fly got you. Caught you sleeping.
Fuck, son of a bitch. All right, but I will press on because the show must go on. But I am,
Are we gonna leave that in?
I guess, it's a blooper moment. Uh, Son of a bitch. All right. Anyways,
So I'll jump in here really
yeah.
quickly. So again, Eric Garner, he was the gentleman who was pretty much strangled outside of a convenience store back in, was it 2014?
Yeah.
By New York, or by NYPD. Um, which sparked the like "I Can't Breathe" movement. We saw it across like the NFL. We saw it in basketball. We saw a lot of like celebrities and companies use their platform in support of Eric Garner. I believe the officers who choked him out and ultimately killed him were like all acquitted, I believe, of any wrongdoing. Yet here we are again, 6 years later, and what's really interesting now is all these companies coming out and all these businesses and celebrities and organizations coming out now saying that like, oh, we need to learn a lesson from this, and we need to uh, like learn from the things that have happened, and in order to impact and change policies moving forwards. um, and it seems like that's what happens every time, right? Eric Garner was killed, and then, oh, we need to learn from this. We need to do better. We got Michael Brown. We've got Tamir Rice. We've got most recently George Floyd. We've got what is it, Shiana Taylor,
Breonna Taylor.
or Breonna Taylor? Breonna Taylor. So it's like, for example, Roger Goodell, who's an an NFL commissioner right now recently came out and said that like the NFL got it wrong, right, with the whole Colin Kaepernick, even with like I Can't Breathe after Eric Garner's death, like, and he's now coming out saying like they got it wrong and they're going to do better and they're going to use this as a learning moment. Um, I don't know, man. I got to kind of call bullshit on that. I think the NFL knew it was wrong when they were blackballing Kaepernick, and I'd be hard pressed to find out what they learned like from this, or if a lot of this stuff to me it just feels like a PR stunt, right? Make up a social media post. Let's say we've learned. Let's say we're going to do better. Make a pledge to pay some money, but we're not going to undo some of the policies that we've created. We're not going to undo some of the things that we've done. We're just going to pretend to be a part of that social media moment. That's really what this feels like to me.
Yeah. I mean, and that more or less is like exactly what it is, right? When you have these companies, these places basically saying, oh, hey, like we're all about this now, and we know, this is a moment, and we all want to make comments. But then you have stuff like this that lets you know that these things that people are dealing with, they're ever present, right? And it can't just be cool to speaking out about these things can't be trendy. And what I mean by that is it can't just be a thing that just because you see that everybody else is like, oh shit, this is a moment where we're all going to speak out. You can't be like, as a company, like, oh, that's the only reason why we're going to speak out is because everybody else is speaking out about it. Because that means you don't really actually give a shit about the thing so much as you care about the image of how it looks, right? PR is a thing that's very real with every company, right? That's something that's real, that's ever present. How you're viewed is critical, right? But for situations like this, for moments like this, um, for 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 uh, for these types of issues, you have to actually take a stand because you actually believe in the thing, right? It can't just be like a thing that's momentary. It's got to be something that you believe in through and through. Otherwise, it really is just a PR stunt. It really is just because everybody else is saying it, which isn't helpful, because that is here one moment, gone the next, right? And so, with them talking about this for Selma about the I Can't Breathe t-shirts and how the Academy was basically just like, yeah, we don't fuck with that. Like, we don't want to stir shit up. Okay. Fair enough. In that case, I would say that the Academy very not just like, oh, like we just don't want to like that's a touchy subject and we don't want to talk about it. It's oh yeah, like we actively don't want to participate because we know that it's a controversial situation. But then every single year that we've seen since 2014, there's the Oscar So White movement and all this other stuff that they want to be more inclusive. They had Moonlight won Best Picture. Then you had Green Book that won Best Picture. In different years, and they do things like that in order to appease people. Like, hey guys, aren't we with it? Did we do what we're supposed to do? By having these movies that were created by black people. Did we speak to what you or that have to do with black issues? Did we speak to what you want us to speak to? And then a few years later, we're going to just see the same shit, right? Like, it's just going to regress right back to where you think you're safe at, right? Just as long as you, in the moment when it was trendy, you spoke to, these issues. So it's like, look, I'm on the wave, dude. I'm like, fuck the Oscars, dude. Like, and and I'm not just saying this just because of this one particular issue, but just all around, it's like an apparatus. Like I was explaining to somebody yesterday how the Academy actually works, as far as like that people actually have to go on campaigns for when they want to like campaign for their movie to win either Best Picture or whatever award it is that you want to fucking win. It's all done like you campaign like you're a politician, and
yeah, and that system just breeds corruption.
Does. 100%.
Right? Like when you could buy votes, how is it not going to breed corruption?
Yeah.
Or when you could like just clearly display favoritism because you were campaigned to better buy one film better than another film, like that just breeds corruption. Yeah, to your point, I'm sorry to cut
No, you're
you off,
fine.
but like I definitely agree with like the institution of the Oscars. If it doesn't like completely change in terms of like how the campaigning or voting is done, as well as like the demographics of like who's actually voting on this film, because I believe the Academy members, or majority of them, are like older white men with a few white women in there. I think was there no minorities on the Academy board,
You know,
like
I
people
don't
who
know.
vote?
I don't actually know.
I believe there was like no minorities. There's just like older white men and several other like white women. So as well as like the Foreign Press Association, right? So until those things are like drastically changed to where they actually say like we're going to be inclusive and we're going to start internally, uh, you know, fuck the Oscars. Like I didn't watch it anyway. I no longer think it's the staple of success. I think more important than like how whether or not your film won an Oscar is like how many streams did it get, how many views did it get. Like I think that as we move forward is going to be a much more important, as well as like how much did it do in revenue. I think that's going to be much more important.
Yeah, look, for me, I think even if they do get more inclusive, I just don't agree with the Oscars with the way they move overall. So it's like even if they do have some black people, minorities, whoever on on their panel or whatever the fuck it is, I still don't give a shit. Like it's like it's all kind of like a useless process to me, you know. And at the end of the day, it's just like what they are tastemakers, right? Like they're the ones who set the like this is best picture, and you're right, streams do matter, all that matters, but then the Oscars bump is real, right? Like for whatever film wins best picture, best believe, like Parasite, for instance, right? It just won the best picture at the last Oscars earlier this year, right? Yeah, I think it was earlier this year. And sure enough, there was more demand for people who wanted to see Parasite, and and so all I think the Oscars are all these awards, whether it is Oscars or whether it is the Grammys or whatever the fuck it is, all they are tastemakers, of oh hey, like let's tell people what the flavor of the month is, and it's just like, well, people don't fucking need you to tell them what the flavor of the month is. They can just fuck with shit on their own, and so I think we really do have to like decentralize the idea of something like the Oscars. I'm much more in favor in looking at like and they still have some problems of their own, to like film festivals of seeing what films come out of these festivals and shit, and that still has a can of worms, is a can of worms on its own. But if I were to look specifically at the Oscars, I would say, nah, there's really nothing that they can do to get me back on board. Not that they really give a shit, but still, with me and my one little, set of eyeballs here, I'm saying fuck them. So yeah, we proceed. And let us know what in the comment section below what you think of the Oscars, whether you like it or not, whether you fuck with it or not, whether you think it's fucked up that that this happened, as far as them basically telling the people who made Selma that, hey, we're not gonna fuck with your film because it didn't, you guys wore the I Can't Breathe t-shirts. Yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think about that. Also, what you think about me swallowing flies? Like, what the fuck? Dude, my throat still doesn't feel right. This is fucking the weirdest shit ever. But we proceed nonetheless.